Let's get back to your comment last week that I discussed with David Axelrod,
Sure.
and let's put it up on the screen again. This election is not about issues. This election is about a composite view of what people take away from these candidates. And here's how Democratic running mate Joe Biden reacted to your convention.
The silence of the Republican Party was deafening. It was deafening on jobs, on health care, on environment, on all the things that matter to the people in the neighborhoods I grew up in. Deafening.
Rick, do you want to focus on personality or a composite view of the candidates, not issues, because of the fact, for instance, that we've got 6.1% unemployment, the highest in 5 years?
No, Chris, and what you didn't show on the screen was the next sentence, which is the composite view is made up of people's values. It's made up of their opinions. It's made up of their judgment and their principles. And so then the next sentence says, and of course issues will play an important role in people's final decision. So I respect the fact that the Obama campaign has some kind of obsession about Rick Davis. I've been the focus of their advertising, and now their candidate seems to be wanting to attack me more than anybody else. That's fine. The water's warm. I'm happy to go toe-to-toe. But to insinuate yesterday on the stump that somehow those comments implied that I was going to indicate that he was going to have these Muslim connections or that he had these radical relationships is absolutely out of control. I mean, what is this guy trying to do?
All right, the Muslim thing may be not fair. Your campaign has talked about the fact that he had this relationship with William Ayers.
Absolutely, but did that quote indicate that? I mean, that's the
radical
quote
connections. That's what William Ayers is.
But where in that quote is radical connections? I mean, understand something.
No, but you just quoted what Obama said on the trail yesterday.
Absolutely, yesterday, against my quote. He said, this is what they're saying by saying that it's about personalities. I didn't even say personalities. He's not correct in the way he's quoting me. And he tries to use that to try and scare you. He says, they're going to tell you that we're going to scare people. They're going to tell you that, that I've got Muslim connections. Well, this is the same construct he's done before. He's trying to play victim. And I just don't think it's very flattering on his part.
Okay. McCain keeps talking about change is coming. But on all the big bread and butter issues, taxes, Social Security, energy, trade, health care, there really are not big differences between John McCain and George Bush.
Oh, I think that change is coming. I mean, look at George Bush couldn't get anything done on Social Security. I mean, I think that's a fundamental difference between John McCain and George Bush in the sense that I think John McCain's approach to Social Security, getting Democrats to come over to the White House, sit down, and get a deal so that we can take this off the table so that not only the people who are currently getting Social Security can feel like they're safe and secure, but all those people in the pipeline to receive it in the future know what their benefits are going to be and what it's going to cost.
But wait a minute. Let's take Social Security as an example. In fact, McCain's Social Security plan is almost identical to George W. Bush's. He's talking about some reform of the system plus private accounts. You're never going to get private accounts through a Democratic Congress.
The difference is the approach. George Bush said, take it or leave it. Here's the way we do it. Private accounts go first, and then the balance of the Social Security system has to be fixed in the process. John McCain says exactly the opposite. John McCain says, give me the leadership of Congress. Whether they're Republicans or Democrats, I don't care. Come over to the White House, sit down, and let's find out a way to take this off the table. And then, once we satisfy the American public that we fix the Social Security system well into the future, then let's sit down and look at Medicare and Medicaid, because those are the things that really are sapping our federal budget. So what the difference is, and I think this is an important difference, and it is changed politically, is that John McCain has a history of getting things done in Congress by sitting down with people who are part of the solution, not part of the problem. He'll sit down with Democrats, independents, Republicans alike, and say, we have got to change this system. He's got a long history of doing that. Nobody has passed more bipartisan reforms in Congress than John McCain, and he'll do it as president.
So you're willing to concede that his starting out point is very similar to George W. Bush's on all of these bread and butter issues, but that the difference will be the approach and how he deals with Congress?
I think there are lots of differences in some of these bread and butter issues. I think our approach on taxes and trade, even though as a Republican are very similar to George Bush, we have different proposals today. I mean, look, and most importantly, we have different proposals than Barack Obama, who has this somehow believes that raising taxes is going to cure an ailing economy. I mean, You know, Economics 101 will tell you don't raise taxes into a recession. John McCain has said it over and over. We have to get more money in the pockets of the American public.
I want to get you to talk strategy over the next 58 days, and let's put up again Karl Rove's electoral map, which shows Obama leading in states with 260 electoral votes. Again, 270 needed to win the presidency. Obviously, it's still fluid, but doesn't Obama have many more ways to get to 270 when you look at that map than you do?
No, I think maps are maps and polls are polls, and we're really not going to worry about it. Look, if we were worried about polls, we would have given up a year ago. What is really amazing about that map, in my opinion, is Colorado. The Democrats just spent tens of millions, maybe $100 million in Colorado with their convention. They dominated the news media for weeks at a time, and John McCain just went into Colorado and had a huge rally, incredibly enthusiastic support. And even though the Democrats have spent tens of millions of dollars in a state that is a clear targeted state, they weren't able to move it into their column.
Okay, we got less than a minute left. I want to finish with the same question that I asked David Axelrod. If you had to frame in 1 or 2 sentences the choice that you want voters to have in their minds on Election Day, what would it be?
Well, I think it was really exemplified in the conventions. Our convention focused on putting your country first. John McCain has always put his country first throughout his career and willing to sacrifice his own political interests for the country at large. The Obama convention, it was all me first. I mean, Barack Obama has put himself ahead of the Democratic Party, ahead of the country's interests, and ahead of his party's interests. And that is a history in the way he's conducted himself in his public life that I think is a clear difference between the two candidates.
Rick Davis, we want to thank you for coming in and talking with us today, and please come back.
Thank you.